Each piece of cloth has a story, and it either tells about a region or an economic situation, certainly talks about a slice of Japanese history. I got into this simply by stumbling upon them one day around maybe 15 plus years ago, and it was really sort of a revelation to me because I'd never known of this material before. As my background is in art, both painting and the curatorial side, it immediately appealed to my eye. All of these fabrics are what I sell. They're all pieces from futon covers and the like. We have ikat or kasuri, as it's called in Japan, in this pile. We have katazome, which is stencil resist dyed, in this pile. Shibori and boro and all the like, and it's all here. I think what it gets down to is materials, the quality of the materials. Is it made of hemp? Is it made of wisteria? Is it made of paper? There were garments that were woven from shredded paper. So those kinds of things are where it's really interesting. The form itself is not so interesting, nor is the construction, because it's all very simple. This is a Japanese folk textile, and one of my favorites because it embodies all the elements of what folk textiles in Japan were, meaning the use of resources. Hemp thread was made to be sold. It was kind of too good to be used in the home by a Japanese farmer. So the waste that was thrown off by the use of making the thread was spun into fiber, woven, and then worn in a garment like this. Basically called garbage cloth. It's called okuzo, or okusozakuri, as this is what it's called in Japan. People have this romantic idea that when I go to Japan, I go knocking on farmhouses and looking at piles of cloth. That's absolutely not true. It's impossible to do that, you know. Anything that I think anybody gets in Japan is brought to market. So this is a panel from a futon cover. It is indigo dyed cotton, and it's stencil resist dyed in a technique called katazome. Here we have a length of cloth which is dyed in the kasuri or ikat method. The pattern that you see going on in those stripes, that kind of stepped pattern, is actually a traditional Japanese pattern called yabane, which is arrow feather. I visit temple markets, I visit friends who are dealers, I go to some small towns to see smaller dealers there. You just have to look everywhere. This was a kimono, it's 19th century. If we open it up, you can see this is the proper outside. It doesn't look as patched up as what I'm showing here, which is the proper inside. This is what we call boro. Boro meaning tattered or ragged. It's quite clear that it's affected fashion. I think that this warmth from human wear and this kind of unplanned arrangement of form is really inspirational. You make these big trips that are very expensive, there for weeks alone, kind of getting lonely, and what makes it really worthwhile is when you find something really wonderful. Something that maybe you haven't seen before, something that's of a better quality than you already have, something like that.